The talkSPORT Darts YouTube page as well. Still to come tonight, Luke Humphries takes on Chris Dobey. Dobey, fresh from reeling off 5 on the spin. He was 5-1 down to Gerwyn Price, but he won the last 5 legs, survived 2 match darts to beat Price and set up a tie with Luke Humphries. Winner of this one will take on Luke Littler, who's just beaten Nathan Aspinall 6 legs to 4 in our opening semi-final. All the action from the final week of the regular season of the Premier League. It's Mark Wilson, Laura Turner and Chris Mason with you for the remainder of the night. And Laura, Littler again beats Aspinall. Nathan will be pretty pleased next week. He's not taking on Luke Littler, I would have thought, at least until the final.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was kind of the best outcome, and he mentioned it before tonight had even started. And for me, yeah, the head-to-head record, it's now 14-1 in favour of Luke Littler, but we know anything can happen on a night like next week. It's just all down to the night, and perhaps Nathan could take a little bit of stock from what happened. He pushed him, he came back, he didn't drop his head, but then obviously Luke Littler just does what he does, back-to-back 180s, and okay, the 141 attempt wasn't the best, but done the damage.
Yeah, he has indeed. Where do you see this one though? Luke Humphries, who was made to work hard against Rob Cross, was behind early, but in the end won it pulling away. Chris Dobey, that miraculous 6-5 win over Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, this is a difficult one because actually you look at the last couple of weeks and how Dobey's played. He obviously was runner-up last week. He posted a couple of ton-plus averages. The comeback tonight against Gerwyn Price, I think he's going to be pushing Humphries once again. But Humphries, world #1, former world champion, he's playing with that little bit of freedom, but then maybe so is Chris Dobey.
Yeah, Chris Dobey, who's look, it's been a campaign to forget, but should have reached the final tonight. That'll be 4 nightly finals out of the 16. That in itself is not a bad record. I guess the problem for Chris, too many where he's been knocked out in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and I think that's where the damage has been done, where you've got certain players that just manage to trickle through semi-final, then make a final or take a win. They've just drip-fed those points, and for Chris Dobey, he picked up that maiden win, and then he went something like 6-7 weeks where he was just quarter-final after quarter-final. The back end of this year's campaign has been a lot better for Chris Dobey.
It has indeed. Right, let's meet the players. Second semi-final. Luke Littler waits in the final. Live on talkSPORT 2.
This is our second Sheffield semi-final. Time to welcome back our players. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, would you please welcome the winner of 7 PDC titles. Ladies and gentlemen, a World Championship semi-finalist and a winner of the Masters, Hollywood Chris Dobey.
A couple of match darts to win it, but got it done. And standing in his way, the world #1.
He's the reigning World Match Play Champion, the reigning World Cup Champion, and the former Champion of the World, Luke Humphries.
Fifth meeting between Humphries and Dobey in the Premier League this campaign. 3 wins for Luke Humphries, including on that night 1 final, which Humphries won by 6 legs to 1. Can Dobey get a second win? Their overall head-to-head is pretty tight. 11-8 in favour of Luke Humphries out of the 19 they've met. Dobey knows he's got what it takes to beat Humphries. Average over 100 in week 11, beating him 6-3. So far from a forlorn task for Dobey, who's looking to wrap up a 4th final appearance of the Premier League campaign. There's been some good bits for Dobey, there's been some pretty poor bits as well. For Humphries, he's been there or thereabouts throughout the tournament, and he's second favourite to win it next weekend live on talkSPORT at the O2 Arena. We'll have the semi-finals and the final live on talkSPORT and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page. Busy week of sport still to come. Saturday, the biggest game in domestic football. See Sheffield United take on Sunderland, 3 o'clock start, Championship playoff final, talkSPORT exclusive. Adrian Durham, Sam Matterface, a former London striker Darren Bent, and a former Swindon manager, current Swindon manager, my apologies, Ian Holloway, our commentary team for that one. Also got Arsenal against Barcelona, Women's Champions League final, 5 o'clock kickoff, Joe Shannon with the West Ham boss, Rhiann Skinner. And then on Sunday, it's the final day of the Premier League. That's the Premier League of football. We'll have it all covered on the talkSPORT network. Laura Turner alongside myself, Mark Wilson, for the second semi-final. Laura, who's going to win it and why?
I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's quite a tight one to call. I mean, your head kind of says Luke Humphries, world number 1, the head-to-head records, everything kind of points in that direction. But just the last couple of weeks, I've really liked what I've seen from Chris Dobey. That opening match as well, the fight back against Gerwyn Price, made the final last week. I think maybe there's just one more last surprise, and if he can go on and actually win the night, he would actually dislodge Michael van Gerwen from 5th place down to 6th.
Yeah, he would. So an extra 5,000 added on to the 10,000 he'd get for winning it. Could still be a pretty profitable night for Chris Dobey. And Humphries will have other ideas. Fist bump between the two. Dobey will have the throw. 5-1 down, and he won 6-5. And in that 5-leg spell, Laura, he was absolutely magnificent against Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's what we've seen, especially when it comes to the floor matches for Chris Dobey. Chris Dobey gives a very honest assessment about his performance. And go back to last year, he was unbelievable on the floor. He topped the Pro Tour. It's just getting that game transition to the stage that's been sometimes the issue, and you are starting to see it more and more regularly now. Yeah, we certainly are. Dobey with the throw, race to 6. Humphries though looking for the opening max, can't quite find it. He's down to 2.62. Dobey on 3.08. Dobey with the throw, switches to the 18s. It's a single, so 2 treble 20s would have left the big fish, but he can't set up the shot, and he's down to 2.13. Humphries probably more than aware that he had just a little bit of a slow start against the opening match with Rob Cross. Not looking to do the same. He's down to 1.39 and taking the advantage of throw away from Dobey. Well, he hit a treble. He thought the second one was in. It wasn't quite in. 99 leaves 1.14. Humphries then for the opening leg. Needed treble 19 and couldn't find it. So Dobey will be back for 1.14 for a holder throw. And these were these kind of big finishes and big moments that we saw Chris Dobey take out against Gerwyn Price. Tops is found for a 1.14 for Chris Dobey. It's just a holder throw, but it was very clinical in the end from Chris. That was a magnificent finish. 100. And he'll be pleased to get that one in the bank early on. Humphries with a throw, starts off with a ton, start of leg 2. But Dobey carrying on where he left off with a brilliant finishing against Gerwyn Price. So we know the final 4, and we know that Luke Humphries will take on Nathan Aspinall in the semi-finals next week, live on talkSPORT Thursday night. We've been with you all the way through. Thanks to all those that have liked and subscribed on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page. Make sure, if you haven't done that, you do that. Get it shared on your socials each and every week throughout the Premier League, and all the way through the match play will be there. And here we've got a game on. Humphries on 180, Dobey on 306. Dobey at the hockey now. Can't find trebles though. 57, a light visit. Yeah, Humphries not on a finish, but treble 20 found, treble 20. Needs to make sure he doesn't find a third because he's on 180, and that was a really safe dart over the top to make sure he comes back for tops. Yeah. Dobey on 249. Less 140. So Humphries to level the match. Needs tops. Just underneath it. It hits double 10 right in the middle. And we're all level at 1-1. Race to 6 for a place in the final where Luke Littler once again is waiting. 96. How many finals have either Luke Littler or Luke Humphries actually been involved in throughout this whole Premier League? I think. Well, Littler's had 9, including tonight, and Humphries will make it 8 if he gets there, to answer that question.
ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But that's probably why they're the best two players in the world.
Agreed. And I just think there was that changing of the guard, wasn't there? Not this World Championships, but the one before, where the two Lukes met in the final. It just felt like there was a shift in terms of the dominant players in the sport. As Humphries fires in a max 181 for Humphries, 271 for Dobey.
Dobey was looking for the outer bull, didn't find it. He's 187. Humphries on 181. He's down to a finish first, so nothing Dobey can do here. From 187, he's hit two trebles. A third would have left him on 88. Not a bad effort, but Humphries for a break needs 86.
Single 18, just under the treble. Another single, so ball. And ball is found, and that's a breaker throw for Luke Humphries. 2-1 in favour of Luke Humphries.
Yeah, nice way to do it, that. Bullseye. And it is 2-1. And Humphries with a throw, looking to make it 3-1 here. Well, Dobey won't be panicking yet. He was 4 behind against Price and still got it done.
And it wasn't like Price, particularly floundered. It was actually Chris Dobey that just managed to really up the levels, the maximum hitting, the finishing. I think he ended up with 109 average.
Yeah, 108.91. That 180 burst he hit. I think it was 6 in 5 legs he hit. Unbelievable scoring from Dobey. But he's on the back foot here. Humphries a ton in front, leads 2-1. He's at the hockey now, and he's going to be down to at least the big fish, you'd imagine. 91. Well, he's left it. Can he hit it?
He has hit it so far throughout the Premier League campaign, but he's got time. Although how much? Because that is a maximum from Chris Dobey. Doesn't even want to finish. 181 for Dobey, plays 170 for Humphries.
170's on. Needs the ball for the big fish. Just to the right of the target. He didn't need to go for it, but he went for it anyway.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to the pressure's off. He knows he's at the O2, so you can just take those extra few risks. And if Dobey not want to finish, he knew he'd be back at the hockey anyway, and it's 8-8 for 3-1 lead, and 8-8 is found.
Yeah, tidy enough that. 3-1. Dobey in arrears again. Can he dig himself out of a hole for the second time tonight in Sheffield? This is not a bad way to start the leg.
Maximum foul for leg number 5 from Chris Dobey. Humphries not quite able to reply in kind, but this is a competitive match between the two, both averaging Humphries in excess of 110.
A ridiculous standard. It shows what these players can do when the pressure's off. 110 plays 106. 3-1 Humphries leads.
It's a really interesting crowd for me tonight in Sheffield because they've had the whole party mood. They're all getting involved, but when the play is on, you can see them in the background and they're just glued to the action.
Yeah, it's been a good night tonight, that is for sure. Humphries on 301. Dobey waiting on 81 for a holder throw to get back within 1. 81 he needs then. Treble 19, double 12, single 19. Now Humphries is on a finish, so it's the bull. And he just hits the green bit just to the south of the target. So Humphries for 4-1 is looking at a show-stopping 161, but he can't start the treble.
And it's Dobey back now. 25 required, which is what Humphries finished off the leg before. He reply in kind. Same route, single 9 found, so 8-8. And now 4-4. Just clips the inside of the wire. Is that a big missed opportunity for Chris Dobey?
Yeah, 75, single 17, single 18, leaves tops for 4-1. And Luke Humphries doesn't miss. Dobey shakes his head for the second time tonight. He finds himself 4-1 down. Can he turn this one around? He knows that was an important leg, and he fluffed his lines.
Almost an action replay, really, of his opening match against Gerwyn Price. And whether you can escape from this kind of deficit on 2 matches in a row, nothing's impossible. It's not over till it's over, but you want to start making life a little bit easier for yourself.
Certainly do. Dobey against the throw, hits the 140. Good last start treble for Humphries, gets him down to 308. Dobey on 361, but running out of time. Needs to hit the afterburners. But how much petrol is left in those afterburners, because he used a lot of it up in that opening win over Price. Littler waits in the final. You're live on talkSPORT 2. Mark Wilson, Laura Turner and Chris Mason, your team tonight. Dance and Co will be down at the O2 next Thursday, live on talkSPORT and on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page. 91 from Dobey, leaves 130. Humphries on throw, 2-1-2.
Single 20, just looking to find a treble. Does find it last start of asking. 96 scored, but it's Dobey for the little fish. 130, single 20 found. Just moves across the off, trying to get the angle for the treble 20 and can't find it. So Humphries, chance to stretch the lead to 5-1.
Well, he hit the ball at the end of the combo to leave tops, but it might not be enough. 116 hits the treble, so it's 16 for tops for 5-1. Just over the top. Dobey breathes a sigh of relief. Here could be the break he needs.
Dobey just taking his time. It's a big dart. Missed an opportunity earlier on in the match, but does not miss that one. Chris Dobey just reduces the deficit by a couple of legs. 4-2 in favour of Luke Humphries.
Yeah, he's within 2. An all-important breaker throw. Starts off 1-3-4. Race to 6. Humphries leads 4-2.
59. And only kicks off that leg with 59. Couldn't find a treble. Dobey now just looking to punish. First one, perfect, inviting. 2 in. It just goes just a bit of a flyer with the last, but 140 puts him on 227. Plays Humphries on 442.
Maximum from Humphries gets him back on Dobey's coattail. 262 Humphries, Dobey 227. It's treble 3. Needs to be creative now. Can't find a treble to get him down to a finish.
No, but Luke Humphries can. First one in, next one single 20, but a great switch over to the 18s for 134 to ensure he is on a finish when he comes back, and it's 128, plays 180.
Yeah, just looking at the potential head-to-head stats of the final. Should Humphries meet Littler, it will be their 8th meeting in 16 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And looking more and more likely, but Dobey has 85 left to put it back within 1. Treble 19 found, so double 14 just outside. It's a bit awkward, has to just shift along the offbeat, trying to find the angle, and goes on the inside.
Well, he misstarts in leg 5, he's misstarts in leg 7. Green bit hit for Humphries to leave tops. Now he needs double 10. Big dart. And Luke Humphries breaks straight back. Dobey's had his chances, but he hasn't taken them. And Humphries now is throwing for the match, leading by 5 legs to 2.
Yeah, this result, as it sits, could easily have been in the favour of Dobey. Just hasn't taken those chances when they have been gifted to him.
100.
Talk about the head-to-heads. I sometimes have to remind myself with someone like Luke Littler that he's only been playing for not even 18 months at this kind of level, and he's already racking up massive head-to-head records with players.
Yeah, and people say, well, it's the Premier League, they play each other too much. What I would say is out of those 8 encounters, should it happen, and it's looking like it will, 5 of them have been in the final, which means all the other players had every opportunity to knock them out before they got to the final, but they weren't good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
44.
No, it does make a very interesting reading for the future in terms of how they compete against each other, but I'm excited for the World Cup as well.
Yeah, well, another maximum for Humphries. 5th of the match.
Yeah, Humphries now down to 138. Dobey way back on 372.
Well, he produced a masterful comeback in the quarterfinals, but he needs something that Houdini would have been proud of to get himself out of this one, and he's not going to be on a finish. So Humphries is coming back for the match and set up yet another meeting with Luke Littler in the final here in Sheffield. Humphries needs tops right in the middle. Not a flicker of emotion from the world #1, Luke Humphries, has seen off Chris Dobey, who was brilliant in the quarterfinals, couldn't quite replicate it, too many missed darts and doubles for Dobey, and Humphries made short work of Hollywood. It'll be Luke against Luke. It could well be the Premier League final next week, but it's the final here in Sheffield. Laura Turner, the top 2 in the world, dominating again, this time in Sheffield.
Yeah, and it's no real surprise. I mean, Luke Humphries made that look really academic, really straightforward. It was still over 106 average at the end, but for Chris Dobey, just those missed doubles. It was unfortunate at the end. He had 5 extra chances. Could have been different, but the dominance of the 2 Lukes, as you say, I think it's one of those rivalries that's going to last for years to come.
Yeah, it certainly is. Thank you to Laura, as ever. You are listening to the Premier League of Darts here on talkSPORT 2. We've got the final to come, and you're listening to the Premier League of Darts live on talkSPORT in partnership with Village Hotels. Visit 33 locations across the UK. Visit villagehotels.com. And thanks to Laura for all your input throughout the Premier League. Thank you for that. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Absolutely, it's been wonderful.
Good stuff. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure, on talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2, and on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page. I think it was meant to be. We know our final 4. We now know our final 2 tonight. It'll be Luke against Luke. It'll be the Nuke against Coolhand after Luke Humphries has beaten Dobey in the semi-finals by 6 legs to 2. When it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. That's where NordVPN Threat Protection Pro steps up to the hockey. Think of it as your personal referee, keeping dodgy websites, malware and phishing scams from sneaking into your setup. It even blocks those pesky ads so you won't get distracted mid-leg. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The finals next. It'll be Humphries against Littler, and it'll be live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel.